Hello dear friends, my name is Muthu Prasad Belpola and I'm working as a business consultant for past 10 years. This is my 12th YouTube video. Today I'm going to talk about how to create a logical data warehouse and tabular data model with Azure Synapse Analytics. Here I'm going to show you how to create a Synapse Analytic workspace and how to create a logical data warehouse top of it, and then how to connect this Synapse Analytics with Visual Studio and create a tabular model. The reason that I selected uh, this topic was right now, in world there are a lot of crisis going on, Corona, and now in Europe, there's a war is going on between Russia and Ukraine, and now oil, gas, and everything's now going up. So people are looking for a cost-effective solution. As IT people and data people, we are also looking to implement a solution with actually cost-effective solution. So when we come to data warehouse, people are looking, or normally people are talking, okay, database, and there we have this fact and dimensions, and then that's the data warehouse, and with the data volume and CPU and everything, these clients and customers, they have to pay high price, so they are looking for cost effective solution. So to overcome that problem, and we can use Azure Synapse Analytics, and there we can create this logical data warehouse, and we can cut down the cost that we are paying for on-prem or cloud databases to implement data warehouse. Okay, let's get an understanding about this concept, the logical data warehouse, and how we can use Azure Synapse Analytics to implement this. Okay, this is the definition for logical data warehouse, and also here mentioned why we need to use a logical data warehouse. But here we are looking for this logical data warehouse for a different purpose. That means to implement a cost-effective solution, right? So when in a normal implementation, traditional implementation, we are doing actually we are extracting using SSISO, ADF, without having a data lake, or in the data lake we store data and read that and do transformation and store in a database. Can be a SQL Server on-prem or Azure SQL or DB2 Oracle, and there we build the fact and dimension and create the data warehouse. So compute power and memory, we have to pay a price. Actually, based on the volume and the logic, we have to pay a big price, right? License cost, and will be a lot of cost for clients. So what we are going to do is, here we are going to remove the database from this diagram, this architecture, and there we are going to use Azure Synapse Analytics to query the data stored in data lake, and we are not going to store data in data Synapse Analytics. We are going to use SQL and on top of Azure Synapse Analytics, and read data and push that data into data model. So this will be will act as a logical layer. We are going to keep the logic. We are not going to store data. Okay, let's see what kind of functionality provided by the Azure Synapse Analytics to implement this logical layer. That's serverless SQL pool. Serverless SQL pool is a query service over the data in your data lake. It will enable to access your data through this Synapse Analytics platform. There we can use TSQL. Most of the people are familiar with this TSQL syntax. We can use that, and we can read the data from data lake, and we can push that data into to a model, or whatever the purpose, that based on this analytic purpose we can push into the model or any other application, right? So let's see how to implement this solution with small kind of a demo. So here I'm going to use info M3 ERP files that stored in, already I actually created a data lake, and there I'm going to use that files to implement logical data warehouse and push that into tabular model, and there I will show you how to connect to Azure Synapse Analytics using Visual Studio. Okay, let's see how to do it. Okay, I logged into my Azure portal and I created a Azure storage account, and inside the storage account I created this Azure Storage Gen 2 account. This is my container, and inside container I create this M3 DWH folder, and then I uploaded M3 tables as a Parquet files into this data storage data lake. The first one is MIT MIS MITMAS as the item master, MIT WHL warehouse master, and then the O line is the order line transaction table. So I'm going to use these tables and we'll create a logical data warehouse using Azure Synapse, and we'll show you how to connect it with Azure Visual Studio. Okay, first we need to create a Azure Synapse workspace. Let's see how to do it. Let's click this create a resource button and then type C. Yes, Azure Synapse Analytics. So here we have to create the create button, and there we have to select our subscription and the resource group. I already create this sales resource group, and then this is the optional one. Then we have to type workspace name. Let's say MPP M3. Yeah, now we will get an error. The Azure Synapse resource provider needs to be registered with the selected subscription. So we have to register our subscription with Azure resource provider. Otherwise, we can't create this workspace. Let's see how to do that. We have to go to home and then select the subscription, and there you can find this resource providers. Let's yes, this is the resource providers. Okay, actually I first initially I registered that, right? That's now unregistering. Once this status changed to not register, then we have to register it again. Then let's see how actually we have to select this one and we have to click this register button, and then it will get registered, and we can see a select green select icon. Right now I actually unregistered my one, that's why I got that error. So in your case, if you get this error, you have to come to resource provider inside your application and you have to register this resource. Now it's registering. Let's see, once it's done completed, let's see uh, if we can create this workspace without an error. Okay, now it's get registered, and let's see, can we create this workspace without an error. Let's type again C. Okay, click create, and select the resource group as sales, and then give them 3. Yeah, it's not available, so let's give now that previous error now remove, gone, and then let's say 2020-04. Okay, now all validation completed passed, and let's say set our storage account from subscription. I will select this account, storage account, file system, and then let's go to the security. We have to set SQL authentication. I'm going to use the SQL authentication. Let's set a password for this one. Okay, Yes, let's go to the networking. Okay, no need tags. Yeah. Now I mentioned that we are going to create a cost-effective solution. Now here you can see this Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace serverless estimated cost for TB is $5. That means for the select statement that we are going to extract data from data lake, it will cost $5 per terabyte. So it's going to be a very significant amount, and actually it will save cost, because if we take a Azure SQL database, let's say premium database, so I think around it's going to be around more than $1,000 per month, and when based on the query and the usage, it will get more cost for it. So with this option, I think we can reduce that amount. I think with the data size, I think compared to SQL server, Azure SQL server and Azure SQL database, I think it's a very less cost. Okay, let's create this workspace. Okay, workspace deployment completed. Actually, I have to show you there's a one error I got during the deployment time. That was the region. I set as Southeast Asia, but I have to change it to East US, because the in Southeast Asia it rejected the request. So I have to change the location. So other thing all okay, and we have to set the firewall settings. Yeah. Now here I have to add my IP address. Otherwise, I will not be able to access from via management studio. So I will put as a range. Right, done. It's updating the firewall. Okay, let's go back here and see. This is our Synapse workspace. Okay, the firewall is updated, and then we have to use this serverless endpoint, not the dedicated one. We have to use this serverless thing, and we have to create the databases using this serverless endpoint. Okay, let's see how to log into this serverless endpoint. uh, First, you have to have install management studio by SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, let's connect to the database engine, then paste that server name or the serverless endpoint, and then username, password. I think we said that both ID and SQL authentication, so we created this SQL admin user. Let's password. Let's try to connect with that server. Yeah, it's connected. Okay, now we create the Synapse Analytics workspace, and we set the storage account. Now let's try to create a database. Inside this database, we are not going to store any transaction or information. Just we are going to use as a logical server, a logical layer, and we create our scripts, the SQL codes that we need to access data lake files. Okay, let's create a database. Master new query. Okay, let's create this database. Okay, now that database created here, yes, we can see that one. Now we have to create an external source to access the data lake from this database. Let's try to create this data source. To do that one, we need to have our connection URL to our data warehouse. Let's go and find that one. Inside the container, this is which get properties. Okay, let's copy this one. Okay, and let's paste that URL here. Okay, remove the file name. Okay, for this folder we are going to create an external data source on this database that we created in Azure serverless endpoint. Let's execute this one. Yeah, it's got completed. Okay, now let's try to query file from this using this external data source. Now created this external data ACC. Let's check that created properly or not. Yeah, it's created. Let's try to query that data from a SQL server. Mm. Okay, there are a few issues because of some certain issues related to the access in data lake. So I fixed that one, and now you can see this open reset query. We can query the file that available in data lake. Let me go to the data lake. Then this is the file, the mitmask file. Now I am accessing from Management Studio using this M3ACC external data source. Right now, I created the schemas, dimension schema and fact schema, and using them I created these views. Let's open one script. Yeah, I use the same SQL here, same SQL, but the different data source. So let's change it to M3ACC. Okay. Okay, let's try to get data from this view. Yeah, now it's working. So now our logical data warehouse has been created. Now these are the dimensions: item master and warehouse master, and then the fact sales. In fact sales, I created the same using the same script. I'm calling the OO line file, the order line file from this using this external data source. Right, now we created the logical data warehouse here. Now let's try to connect from Visual Studio and see how we can build a data model. Okay, I open the Visual Studio and let's select a tabular model project. uh, Solution tabular one project. Let's click OK. Yeah, let's Okay, let's create a data source, new data source, Azure Synapse Analytics, connect. Let's go to our Synapse Workspace and serverless SQL endpoint. Let's click OK. Okay, now it's asking for database. Now what we have to provide username and password. Yeah, now we created the connection to the our logical data warehouse. Now let's try to take some tables from this one. Import new tables. Now we don't have any physical tables available here. Now we have views available in this data logical data warehouse. It's loading. Now you can see the data is retrieving from data lake using these views that we created on Azure Synapse serverless pool. Right now, the cost is per terabyte is $5. I think when we are partitioning, if we partition the transaction tables, so and let's put to refresh all the tables by um, for a particular, let's say current, for a current month or current year, then the transfer data size will be less. And then also in the data lake side we can partition the Parquet files, so then the data read will be minimal, and then again this we can save more money from using this method, because let's say if we take for a file, if it is a less than, all the transaction table less than uh, the amount, the data size less than one, let's say for current year it's a small amount, so during a 1 month, I think using a $5 we can manage for the manage the cost for the data warehouse. Okay, close this one and let's try to create a simple model. Now we have the data warehouse and the fact table and the MMID no with this one. Take and then WHLO. Right, this is a simple model that we can create using these tables, and you can see that using this logical data warehouse we able to create a tabular model, and this will be a very cost effective solution if you have this big SQL data warehouse. So you can create this logical data warehouse and you can remove the entire database and can build all the data. You can apply the business logic and create a logical data warehouse top of the data lake. Okay, from this session, I think we will learn how to create a Azure Synapse Analytic workspace and how you learn how to resolve that problem, especially the resource provider one, and then how to access a data lake file using Azure Synapse Analytics external resource data source component, and then how to develop a logical data warehouse, and then how to connect it with the Azure Studio and with a simple model. So I think this will help you to decide whether you want to go with the data warehouse solution with a database or serverless SQL pool option with Azure Synapse Analytics. And so based on your scenarios situation, I think this will help you to reduce the cost and build a cost effective solution. Okay, this is the end of this session. Thank you for watching this video.